Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by our good friends at Titan MRI, and of course brought to you from Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill at the Meldon Law Gator Podcast Room. We always love Meldon Law being involved with us, and Coach Spurrier will be here, I think, next Monday. I think Monday he'll be here. Today, Shannon Snell's going to join us. Of course, All-American offensive lineman, barbecue pitmaster, and he is one of the food he makes is unbelievable. But we'll talk to him a lot about offensive line play and about the Super Bowl. He played in the NFL as well. We'll have Coach Spurrier hopefully on Monday, and then Sean Kelly on Friday. Of course, the announcer who the new voice of the Gators, who we had on when he first got the job, want to talk to him about how it's going, how everything is treating him, and what's going on there. Let us get though, because we have a lot going on today. Today's a crazy day. I've got a lot of stuff to do for the golf tournament. Obviously, we're doing the podcast, and then we go to the Spurrier having the street named after him, Steve Spurrier Way. We'll be here for that, and actually brought in a few things that I'm going to get signed. But one of them I want to get signed by Shannon Snell, All-American. Hey, it says Gators pride. There's nothing more prideful than being an All-American. But let's get to our Hand Law starting lineup. We appreciate our friend Chris Hand. The starting lineup is presented by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Oh, what a wonderful town. All right, number one story happened last night. It wasn't a game related, but I'm just kind of going and looking at everything that's gone on during the day because I was kind of out of it. And I was like, oh, Oklahoma and Texas aren't coming in 2024. The story, I think as recently as 4 days ago, was that they couldn't work it out. They couldn't work out the money between Fox and ESPN. That's where the biggest stigma was, because if Fox would have been dumb just to say, here, let it go. Yeah, we'll let them go early. We'll let them, but let's face it, Texas and Oklahoma want this if they want it to happen at all, they want it to happen as soon as possible. And so they were willing to pay the $100 million. So the SEC is not on the hook for anything. Now the SEC goes back to the their rights fee person, which are rights fee people who are ESPN, and they go, hey, here's what we got now. We're going to bring you this game and this game, and here's the way the schedule is going to look. To me, the biggest story right now is, what is the schedule going to look like next year? Next year was supposed to get a little bit easier for Billy Napier. Third year in the program, got his guys in there, and the schedule was manageable. Now, the way it would set up if they had a 9-team league, and this is another thing, there are a million questions that I have for what's going to happen, and we don't know the answers to yet, and we'll find out. But if they go to the nine game season in the SEC, which most people think they eventually will get the votes to do that, now you get into a situation where you're, if you're Florida right now, you already have scheduled Miami, UCF, and FSU. Now, I know UCF is not nationally, it's not that huge a brand. It's a big brand. It's a good brand, but they're also in the Big 12 now. So you're playing 3 Power 5 teams on your schedule, plus 9 SEC games. And last I checked, even Vanderbilt's in the Power 5. Can't make fun of Vanderbilt anymore after they beat Florida last year. Think about it. That's 12 straight games. I would bet one of those games gets moved off the schedule. I don't know which one, but one game will be moved to a later date. I would assume it would be either Miami or UCF. We'll see. Or maybe they go, hey, you know what? We didn't want to play that Friday night game over in Tallahassee, so here's your punishment. We're not going to play in this year or whatever. So there's a million things, though, that I'm curious to see what happens. How do they divide? If they go to 8, 9, which I think they will, do they do the 3 permanents? Is the closest team to Florida not going to be one of their permanents? I don't think it will, Auburn. And my guess is South Carolina, Georgia, and then they'll find somebody from the West. It could be Oklahoma, could be Texas, could be Texas A&M. But now we're waiting for that reveal of that, which will be dynamic. And that'll be something we'll talk about. And I could literally talk about this for 2 hours because it's fascinating to me what's happening. 2024 is going to be something. 16-team SEC. That's the year UCLA and USC come over to the Big Ten and a 12-team playoff. Other than that, not much going on that year. It's going to be awesome. Number 2 on the hand-loss starting lineup. I don't want to talk too much about Florida basketball. We knew that probably wasn't going to go well. It went worse than we thought possible. That's how good Alabama is. It's how not good Florida is. Florida plays hard. They work hard. They got guys who care. Not all of them care, and that's why not all of them play a lot. But they're just not that good. And to get into the tournament, they almost have to win out. And by that, I mean you could probably lose one along the way. Make sure it's not a bad loss because you really don't have any bad losses. We thought FAU might have been a bad loss at the time, but now we look back at it, it wasn't at all. But for them to get in the tournament, they're going to really have to go on an amazing run and probably do something at the SEC tournament. Didn't think this team was going to be anything great, but I thought it'd be better than it is. And I talked about it last week, how they haven't gotten some stuff from some guys I think that they thought they would get something from. But it is, I was thinking about this. I was looking up these stats, and last time they did this, last time they were this bad at this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm tired of looking up bad stats. I mean, I'm sorry, I've got to give them to you. If I don't give them to you, like that Coasi Reeves stat I gave you on Monday, if I don't give them to you, you don't know. So, I'm big on stats and stuff. So I have to give them. But I'm tired of looking up bad ones. I remember back in the 2006 to 2008, all I was looking up were great stats. Oh, and they did this. Nobody's ever done this before. Now I'm like, this is the worst defense ever. Historically, worst defense ever. I mean, I'm tired of it. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but I'm going to keep telling it to you. All right. So number 3 on the hand-loss starting lineup. They went to the gauntlet, Florida's basketball team, with those 4 games. I said they had to win one, and they did win one. They won the one that you thought they might win because it was at home. The other 3 were on the road. Their net actually is better than it was before the 4-team gauntlet. And that's good. But now it starts with Vanderbilt, and don't think Vanderbilt can't beat Florida. Vanderbilt just beat Kentucky Tennessee on a jumper from the corner at the buzzer. Vanderbilt's playing a little bit better basketball. They've got a good team. They're not bad at all. They just haven't been able to win a lot of big games. They're good. And so Florida could lose that game. But that's the thing. They have got to keep it going. They've got to keep winning games. It felt like we had found something, and now we're not so sure they really did find something. Anyway, Vanderbilt Saturday. We'll tell you about where it is going to be on TV a little bit later on the Ben Ige Odell Realty games of the weekend. But let's get to number 4 on the hand-loss starting lineup. I wanted to mention this. 62 Florida football players were named to the SEC honor roll, the most ever for any school. Okay? 62. Now, I know that there's some guys that aren't taking tough classes, and I know there's some guys that are in, early classes and are freshmen and stuff, but 62 is still an amazing number. And it kind of tells you what they're trying to do. Some of the 62 are gone already. Like guys, Anthony Richardson was one of them. But there were a lot of guys, when you looked at it, you expect to go walk on. No, it was guys who were big parts of the team, Amari Burney, guys like that. So I did want to mention that because, usually when you see that story come over the wire, you go, delete, let's applaud guys going to school and getting 62 people on the SEC honor roll. The dumb jock argument that some idiots make is not true, and I've said that for many years. I don't know he's so dumb. How can he remember all the things I can't remember? Anyway, 62. That's the number to remember when you go home. Finally, it's number 5, and yes, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl a lot coming up here, but I'm going to make my pick. And I made it on the radio yesterday. I picked Kansas City, and then I started looking even deeper into it, and I went, oh, I think Philadelphia is going to win. And then I went, you know what? The bottom line is, Pat, you don't have any idea. So I think I have a coin here. Let me see if I have a coin that I can flip. Heads, a penny. That's perfect for me. Heads, it's going to be Philly. Tails, it's going to be Kansas City. This is big. I knocked it off the. Can you see what it is?
We'll never know.
Oh, we'll never know. All right, so there will be no winner of the Super Bowl. I believe in Mahomes. I think he's really good, but I tell you, Kansas City is good, but I think. It's heads. It is heads. What did I say heads was? Kansas City? Yes, so my man here, Jared, wearing his Kansas City shirt, so good for him.
I wish you could spin the camera and just
Yeah. You can come out here, Jared, if you want to, just to show your Kansas, because we're going to have a guy with an Eagles jersey on in just a minute. So for the people that are watching, do watch the show. See?
Chiefs Kingdom all the way down in Florida.
There might be, we might have fisticuffs. You need to stay tuned to this show, because when in just a minute, my friend Ken Hesser is going to be here, all Eagles all the way. In fact, I think he's wearing a Lito Shepherd Eagles jersey. Lito Shepherd played for the Eagles, of course, and for the Gators. All right, that's going to do it for our opening segment. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Shannon Snell. Can't wait to talk to him about Super Bowl, about offensive lines, about what Florida's been able to do and bringing all these guys in and that. And we'll also get to a yes, no, where maybe with him. And then, as I said, for the third segment, Ken Hesser is going to be in here. We'll do a live 3 things with Hesser and Kipke. A lot of other stuff to get to. We'll be back with more here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. This is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Spite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley's Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Ige team at Odell Realty. Ben Ige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Ige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators. That's www.beneige.com/Gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Ige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators or call 704-201-4264.
Calling Gator Nation. You're invited to be part of Gator history on Friday, February 10th for the official dedication of Steve Spurrier Way at Celebration Point Promenade in front of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Lots of dignitaries and press will be on hand to witness this historic event. And it's open to all who bleed orange and blue. It's the grand unveiling of Steve Spurrier Way. It's all happening Friday, February 10th from 5:30 to 6:15 at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point.
And welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI. It's always great to bring in our good friend here to the Meldon Law Gator Studios, a great Gator, and Shannon Snell. Sir, should I call you sir since you're a pitmaster? Sir Shannon Snell?
No, sir makes me sound old, Pat. So you can just call me Shannon. It's like I tell my kids' friends. I was like, don't call me sir. Please call me just Shannon. Don't call me Mr. Snell. I know it's a respect thing, but I feel like as the years go by, I don't want to be called Mr. Snell. I was just getting older. I see more gray in my beard and my hair, too.
Well, I think you see it all over me. But, so if you're a pitmaster, and do you keep that title forever, or do you have to continue to renew it?
You have to continue to renew it. It's, which is great because barbecue's ever evolving. It always changes. And I think the good thing about it is that it keeps you fresh. A lot of times people get a title, and it gets stale, gets old, and you don't really kind of touch up on it. For me, I'm always humbled by something in barbecue every single day.
I wanted to ask you about Florida's offensive line. It's one reason I wanted to have you on is, and obviously I did this thing about for Gators Wire about 12 players that Florida wasted on bad years, and one of them was Osiris Torrance, who was a consensus All-American. And I mean, look, I don't study film of these guys. You probably watch it as more than anybody in terms of what you see. How good was he at that right guard position?
I think he had probably the best season of any offensive lineman in recent memory. I think you go back to maybe a couple of the games. It was 2 games he missed, one the bowl game, one during the season, and just look at the dynamic of what Florida's offensive line was. They weren't able to run the ball very efficiently. They weren't able to protect. I think I personally thought he brought a leadership and a mentality to that offensive line that just everybody fed off of. And, I had a conversation with, though we're nameless right now, but it was a very consensus among when Cyrus got here that he was the best offensive lineman in the room. So I think, that was Billy's due diligence. I think Rob Sale did just an unbelievable job getting them coached up. But, Cyrus was really it sucks, right? You have a guy that talented, you lose him after a year.
Yeah.
You wish you had him another. I mean, obviously he had another year, but I mean, he's going to
be a first-round pick.
He's going to be a first-round pick. If he's not, I'll be super shocked. But he literally is probably he deserved that brick. And it's nice to have him mentioned in Florida, great offensive lineman.
Yeah, guards. It's hard for guards to get drafted in the first round because everybody's obsessed with those tackles and protecting the quarterback, especially with the way the NFL's changed, where it's a passing league and guys are throwing 58 times a game.
Yeah, Pat. But you go back now, you take a look at these teams that are able to run the ball efficiently. Go back to that old school mentality of football. They have great offensive line. They have great guard play, great center play. Philadelphia Eagles are going to be in the Super Bowl. Yep. Just a great offensive line, and their offense is fueled by that offensive line being, tough-nosed, hard-nosed players up front, being able to protect Jalen Hurts and get Miles Sanders his touches.
You were an All-American here at Florida on the offensive line, and I'm just wondering what you think about when now they're building, and this is the way a lot of people are doing it, building through the portal.
Yeah.
They brought in these 3 mammoth guys that are going to take those guard spots for one thing. But I mean, what is that like we talk about it all the time, the communication situation, the chemistry situation, but the bottom line is we have no idea what's going on out there in the practice field.
Sure. Yeah. There's still a lot of work left to be done, right? Because this offensive line is pretty much brand new. You got Austin Barber, who's returning. He actually stepped in and played really well. And you got Richie Leonard. Kingsley Ekigon, he's going to step in, obviously returning, but there's a lot of variables that we have to now pay attention to. We always talk about, 5 guys on the offensive line blocking as one. This lineup has coming into this year, they've never played next to one another. So I think the pieces are there. They got big guys. I know this offense depends on having a big, tough offensive line, being able to run the ball, set up play action pass. I think they got that. In all intents and purposes, they went out and got some guys in the portal, which was super amazing. It was nice to have big guys that will probably be pretty durable. But now it's just really putting the pieces together, Pat. It's just, that's going to be the $1 million question. Can Rob Sale, who is lauded as a very damn good offensive line coach, can he put these guys together and pick up where he kind of left off last year?
Yeah, and that's the thing with an offensive line is, you would know, I don't know, but what is the biggest detriment? What hurts you when you're trying to put that many guys together, when you're trying to bring a group together from different corners of the United States and make them one offensive line? What's the biggest barrier?
The good news is that I know a lot of people talk about Florida having so many coaches, but they got Mike Richards there, who's an offensive line analyst. They got guys that are doing the recruiting and saying, hey, this kid could end up in the portal. Does he fit our scheme? Does he fit, what we like to do offensively? And, the guys that they brought in, they're not passive. They're hard-nosed guys. They're tough guys. And the mentality of Florida's football is what they tried to build last year. The unfortunate fact is that when Billy Napier stepped in, it was kind of, hey, this is what you get, other than the actual recruiting class that he got. So year 2, I think he was able to kind of go into the portal. Maybe he didn't hit on every guy, right? Everybody wanted an Alabama transfer, a guy that just thought you could plug him and play. I think Billy Napier is so smart, and I think, just consult with Rob Sale on what he wants and what this offense looks like. I think they got the guys that they wanted. And sometimes it's not about having a guy that's a 5-star coming out of high school or, the top-rated guy in the portal. It's really what fits your scheme. Is it going to work for your offense?
Right,
and it's almost like saying you don't want to have so many Chiefs that you don't have enough Indians, right? And in this particular case, I think the scheme is going to fit each guy that they brought in. And I think that's probably the best formula for success moving forward. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is you never know whether you're going to be more of a passing team, more of a running team, but you've got those 2 great running backs. We know they're good, you know, and that's the thing. If they can give them a sliver, great things can happen. Yeah, we got 2 guys that are one's a thunder and lightning, if you will. Both guys could take it the distance, as we've seen this past year. Right. But I think this coming year, I think we kind of see a little bit more of what this offense looks like, which we saw just glimpses here this past season. But, as Billy starts to evolve this roster, starts to evolve this offense, I think it can be even more explosive than what we saw last year.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you're one of those guys, and we've heard it from Emmett, we've heard it from a lot of guys, Doring and those guys that are of the belief. Look, this guy knows what he's doing. It's going to take a little time.
Sure.
Be patient, Gator fans. That's hard to do though when you go 6-7 2 years in a row.
Yeah, but there was, Pat, you and I both know there were so many issues across the board when the previous staff left, and from recruiting holes to culture issues, and I think Billy Napier and I think him and Scott Strickland, when Scott Strickland stepped in, it's like, hey, you're gonna have to fix some stuff, and I'm sure Strickland's gonna give him more than just the 1 year that he had.
Absolutely.
You know what, Pat, you and I both 6-7 is probably a miracle than where we were at. I mean, we were picked to lose, a lot, maybe go 5-8 and other numbers. So I think for Billy Napier to really tip the hat to him to open up this offense, play some semblance of defense and go to a bowl game. That was the objection this year. That was the object this year, to go to a bowl game.
To go to a game.
Yeah, and they did that. They had some really good games, a great game against Utah, right? I mean, not too many teams beat the Pac-10 the Pac-12 champion this year, right?
Nope.
So they did that. So I think it's going to take a little bit more time, but at the end of the day, I think they got a recipe for success. I'm not discouraged. I'm not disappointed. I am very staunchly in the corner of Billy Napier and this team and this staff.
Yeah, I kind of have a back and forth sometimes.
Sure.
I mean, there are times when the clock management's not like what I want it to be, where the offense isn't as creative as I want it to be. But overall, I know at least he's got a plan. Now, it's a plan that he's not sharing with me, but or very many other people. But I do think it's going to work out. Let me. I want to go to two extremes of college or football, and that is are you still going to be doing the high school games this year?
I will be still calling the games, the Friday night rival games. This will be year 4.
Wow.
Funny note is that we were one of the highest rated shows on television behind like a CSI Miami or whatever it is, which I'm pretty impressed with.
Well,
as far as local TV goes.
That was a big CSI Miami.
It
though,
was.
That night. Yeah.
It was. But yeah, I'm so happy to highlight this homegrown talent, especially here in North Central Florida. And, I
watch those games. I sit there and watch them.
Listen, Pat, I get sometimes fanboyish because I'm watching these young men out there. I remember 23 years ago or 24 years ago, I was on high school fields doing the same thing. Yeah. So it's exciting for them, and it's exciting that they have the opportunity to be on TV and showcase talent.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I did want to ask you about your Super Bowl pick and what you think about Super Bowl. I've said this a million times. I don't have a skin in the game because I like both teams. These are two of my favorite teams. But then I start thinking about, Philly fans, and I think about Kansas City fans doing the tomahawk chop, and I go, now I don't know who to root for. I still don't know who to root for.
Well, Pat, I think the when it comes out, first of all, I'm picking Philly. Philly is I have no skin in the game. My Cowboys got.
Well, I was going to say you got a little skin. It's your division,
game, right? But I think Philadelphia, for all intents and purposes, is the better team. They should win this football game. And I'm never going to count out a guy like Patrick Mahomes or what he's done with that football team, or you can't do it. They made it back after losing Tyreek Hill and losing a bunch of pieces. But, Philadelphia was really strong up front. I think they had something over 70 or some odd sacks during the season. And one place that I think that Philly is really strong and that Kansas City struggles is the offensive line. Sometimes they have a little bit of a tough time protecting Patrick Mahomes. So I think this is going to come down to what Philly's defense can do against that offense.
I think so too.
Yeah.
In the end, I got a feeling Mahomes is going to do something special for some reason.
Once again, I'm not going to count him out. If Kansas City ends up winning this game, it won't be a surprise. I just think I think Philly's very tough, very difficult. Where Kansas City has maybe some issues.
That's why it's a 1.5 or 2 point spread is all it is. All right, let us get to yes, no, way, or maybe. As always, it is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. If you go into Big Mills and say you saw Shannon Snell on another Dooley Noted podcast, you get free fries with your order. So that's a pretty good deal. We appreciate Big Mills, street dining done the right way. Number 1. They just announced, last night that Oklahoma and Texas are coming aboard next year. So which one would you rather see as one of Florida's opponents? Because they're going to have 3 permanent opponents if they go to 9, Oklahoma or Texas.
Oklahoma, definitely, 100%. We've seen Oklahoma a few times in the last
2 months.
The last 2 months. But we talk about the 2009 championship game. I think there was a little bit of a rivalry built there where Oklahoma thought they were going to win. They actually did not. So it's starting to become a little bit like I I would love to see Oklahoma. They recruit great talent. It could actually end up becoming a recruiting battle. And we've seen a lot of recruiting battles here over the last 5-10 years between Oklahoma and Florida. So, I mean, it could be a pushing point for some of these recruits. So I would love to play Oklahoma. I love to beat them all the time.
There you go. Well, and they've had Florida's number. They beat them in basketball. They beat them in football.
They have.
Beat them in softball and baseball. They knocked them out of the
This is why I don't like them.
I know.
I would feel like Georgia back in the day. We just beat up on them so much.
That's right. All right, number 2 on Yes, No, Where, or Maybe, the record for the longest national anthem at the Super Bowl, Alicia Keys, 2013. It was 2 minutes and 30. It was 2 hours. I would have turned it off. 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Chris Stapleton's doing it. This Yes, Nowhere, or Maybe he breaks the record. Goes over.
No way. Yeah, I think the Alicia Keys one would last quite a bit. It was an awesome rendition.
It was good.
Let's not get past that, but I don't think he touches that. I don't think vocally he can hold those notes that Alicia Keys can for that long. So I think it's going to be the under on that.
All right, and finally, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, or Maybe with the great Shannon Snell. There are brisket and ribs on the table. You are taking the brisket.
Yes, 100%. Matter of fact, 10 times out of 10, the brisket.
Really?
You know, I'm a brisket guy. If you go to my Twitter page, it's the lover of all things brisket. I don't know what happened. I went out to Texas years and years ago. I had some of the best brisket of my life, and I became hooked. So that's what it is.
What's the name of that place that's right there in Austin? That's by
Is it Pearls?
Franklin's
Barbecue.
yes.
Oh my goodness! Listen, they got Franklin's, they got Pearls, they got a lot of cool things out there. They got
Franklin's. They take it's like a tailgate. They have chairs going all the way out of it because you got to wait in line.
Well, yeah. If you don't get there at 7 o'clock or like 6 o'clock in the morning to wait in line, they're generally going to be out.
They're going to run out.
They're going to run out.
And when they run out, they run out.
And they said, hey, you might want to get here earlier tomorrow. So get up set your clock at 5 a.m.
The only reason I like ribs is because they're hand food. I'm all about hand food. I'm not about ever using a fork.
Listen, brisket can be hand food. You can pick it up with your fingers.
Now you're making me hungry.
I know, right? Brisket, ribs, and
we'll have to go get some brisket and ribs. Always great having you here. And actually, I've got this cool thing that I'm going to get Shannon and some of the other guys that are coming here for Spurrier's street dedication to sign for our golf tournament. So it's cool. And
the Dooley. Always look forward to it, Pat.
And we look forward to you being back on the show again. We always like you having you on here and getting some insight, and appreciate it, Shannon.
Thank you, Pat.
We'll be back with more of another Duly Noted podcast. Actually, we're going to have another guest coming on right after we take this break here on another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Ige team at Odell Realty. Ben Ige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Ige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/gators. That's www.beneige.com/gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Ige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators or call 704-201-4264.
Calling Gator Nation. You're invited to be part of Gator history on Friday, February 10th for the official dedication of Steve Spurrier Way at Celebration Point Promenade in front of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Lots of dignitaries and press will be on hand to witness this historic event. And it's open to all who bleed orange and blue. It's the grand unveiling of Steve Spurrier Way. It's all happening Friday, February 10th from 5:30 to 6:15 at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point.
All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. You may not recognize this guy that's next to me, Ken Hesser, who we talk about all the time. We talk about on every show. One of the sponsors of Hesser and Kipke's Three Things, wearing his Lido Shepherd Eagles jersey. I like that look.
Yep. Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, it's a good. I was trying to think of the other great Eagles.
Well, you got Javon Kearse played the second half of his career after he left the Titans. Tebow played there briefly.
That's true.
He came in preseason. We had Riley Cooper. It was a little. He had his ups and downs when he was with the Birds. Those are really the main. In fact, I was coming over here. I was trying to start thinking of the various Eagles. They were the top ones that came through my mind.
Well, I think the highest pick might have been that the Eagles had from Florida, John Reeves.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What year would that have been?
That would have been 72
Okay.
draft.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that's that old to remember anything like that. But we always do the Hesser and Kipke Three Things, but I'm concerned that we could have a brawl here because we got Jared over there with the Chiefs jersey and a T-shirt, and you guys seem to be okay with it.
Yeah, we were talking beforehand. You got the Andy Reid connection. You got the Kelsey brothers. There's a lot of in fact, Nick Sirianni actually coached the Chiefs for a brief time, and he was actually let go by Andy Reid when he came over. So there's a little bit of bad blood there. I guess a little chip on his shoulder, as he would say. But Andy Reid is still relatively, I wouldn't call him revered, but he's highly respected amongst the fan base.
Right.
The problem is that he was always criticized for his time management, and also the fact, it took him four NFC Championship games to actually get to the Super Bowl. So until he got there, it was a little bit hairy there as far as with the fan base. As you know, we can be a little bit aggressive.
No, I've never heard that before. Yeah, that is the one thing. The fan base that threw batteries at Santa Claus versus the fan base that does the tomahawk chop. Yeah. There's another hard call there.
Well, they love the battery story that all Eagles, Phillies fans, we love hearing the battery story. We just never, we're never reminded about it. But the real story about that was the Eagles were playing horribly and they brought some drunk guy out to Franklin Field, right? And everybody was just in a bad mood. So there's an alternate history to that, which should be respected.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll go with that. Yeah. All right. Let us get to our Hesser and Kipke Three Things. Do you want to read because you wrote it, right?
Yeah, I think I wrote it. Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' comp law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor for the state of Florida. Don't believe me? Well, check out our more than 50, actually we're up to 55, five-star Google reviews, or better yet, give them a call at 352-339-9920.
Can we edit that in there, 55 now? Yeah, because we need to do that. We're both fans of Spinal Tap. So when we were quoting back and forth, and I just went, he wrote this, and I was like, it makes my wife laugh every time I say it. But we're such fanatics about Spinal Tap that
they're coming out with a sequel. You're aware of that? Yes,
did. I hear. I don't know. I don't know if I can live in a world where there's a sequel to Spinal Tap and a sequel to History of the World Part 1.
Oh, yeah. I'm never a big Monty Python guy, but...
No, that's Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he's good. History of the World Part 1 wasn't the best movie.
Yeah. Well, Spaceballs, I think, is his top. If you ask me.
No.
Yeah, come on. It's great.
No.
Watched that the
Spaceballs
other day. It
is
was awesome.
fourth, probably.
Yeah.
You got to go Young Frankenstein Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
Be one,
All right.
too.
All right.
That'd be my one, too. Well, actually, producers would probably be one. Anyway, we can talk movies all day, believe me. All right, so let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Number one, Charlie Strong leaves Miami. If you don't know the whole story, Charlie went down there, was given the title of co-defensive coordinator. It always felt like it was in name only. And they do give titles like that to people so they can give them a little more money. But then they went and their defensive coordinator left, so they went and hired a guy. But they hired a guy from he went from Marshall to Tulane, was there for like a hot minute, and now is a Miami defensive coordinator. And Charlie's like, well, wait a minute, what about me? And so Charlie walked away, and I'm glad he did. 62 years old. Maybe time for him to retire, but I hope he comes back here and does something at Florida.
He's a young guy. I mean, I'm a Penn State grad, and we had Paterno coach until he was 82. So to me, 62 is young. I mean, you're nothing, right?
62 is a new 42, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to say. 68 is a new 28. Yeah. That hasn't been working for me, though. I will say that. So we hope everything goes well with Charlie. Of course, Charlie's been on this show before, and we'll have him on again. Number two, I was the Gainesville Quarterback Club, which is unbelievable how great they do, how the great speakers they get. They had their winter meeting on Tuesday, and I was there to speak as well. And they had John McDade, who was the head of officials for the SEC, is the head of officials. Really smart guy from Harvard. But one of the themes of what he was talking about was how, they're trying to let guys do a little bit more as far as celebrating and stuff like that, but they're really trying to get the game going at a faster pace. The pace of play was what the main thing he talked about. And I'm with him on that in terms of not having so many stoppages for time. But obviously the number one stoppage is commercials. Yes. And that's not going to go away.
One of my big issues with college football as I get older is I like the fact, that's why I like soccer. My favorite part of soccer is, it starts right on time. And unless it goes into, 3 overtimes or whatever, it's going to be a 2-hour watch. The NFL has gotten better, I think, at kind of keeping it to 3:15 each matchup. College, though, sometimes, especially the big 3:30 matchups, seem to get bloated 4 hours, 4:15, especially if you get an extended overtime. That, to me, and again, I've gotten fights with my friends about this, that those things can, they love it. I like to watch a nice truncated, I guess because of my attention span, I like to watch a truncated game, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think he was talking about this, that nobody's really saying the games are too long. They're saying there's not enough game action in the games that are that long. So they want to see more. And so I think you'll see that happen with the NCAA. Finally, on 3 things with Hesser and Kipke, brought to you by Hesser and Kipke. The price of a Super Bowl ticket is plummeted down to $4,200. Okay, it was $6,000.
Right.
Now it's at $4,200, which they're surprised, but apparently some tickets have become available for whatever reason. I don't know. I know I wouldn't spend $4,200 unless the Beatles were getting back together.
Which reminds me, Pat, my friend just texted me this past weekend. He went to see Springsteen at the Amway Center.
Yeah.
And I assumed he spent $1,500, $1,600 for seats. You know how much he spent to get in? $166, which word was coming to me that those tickets were somewhere in the high 3 digits to get in. So, it doesn't surprise me, especially if you know how to play the game, that tickets can plummet. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it really, but what's the most you would, because you go to a lot of concerts.
Yes.
What's the most you would spend, and who would you go see? Who would it be that you would see?
Well, let me think. We're into Paramore. That's our big current millennial band that we like to follow. And when we saw them in the Beacon, we spent a pretty good amount to go see them. We've seen Coldplay recently over up in Atlanta, and we spent, I think $300, $400 is the price point. Everybody's trying to get these Taylor Swift tickets right now. I don't know. We saw her once, and we paid probably a third of what we would have to spend now for the same seats. We got them in Atlanta. So I would say probably $500 is probably my top level at this point to spend for any big.
Yeah, I could do that. I would spend $1,000 if it was something like historic. But I mean, again, unless the Beatles get back together,
What's
and I
historic
don't
at this
think
point?
that can
I
happen.
mean,
Yeah.
McCartney tours still. So, I mean, other than that, I can't see.
I wouldn't spend $1,000 to see Paul. Paul's voice is gone.
I've heard that he's not the same. Yeah.
I love him, but and he loves me. He's told me so. He said, I love you. Yeah. All right. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and you guys all got to meet Ken Hesser.
Well, it was a pleasure being
Or
here.
Hesser.
Yeah.
We can call him Hesser.
The last time I saw you, know what we were watching, right?
The Braves lose to
Game
the Phillies.
3, Reese Hoskins, Bryce Harper.
I wasn't. Why do you have to bring it up?
I'm sorry. That's at least if we lose on Sunday, at least we got baseball season starting. So that's the the good news.
It has been pretty good for you. I mean, baseball in the World Series, basketball second best team, I think, in the
third
East.
best. They're slumping a little bit, Sixers, but
and then to be in the Super Bowl.
Yes, can't complain. Growing up in the '80s at the Vet, it's really good to be a Philadelphia sports fan right now.
All right, it is good, and we'll see if it's even better on Sunday. We'll be back with more. We'll do all the rest of the things we usually do in this third segment. We'll have a fourth segment to do those. We appreciate Ken being here. We'll be back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Go Birds.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. This is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast. We rarely have 3 breaks in a show, but we did that today to get Ken on, and appreciate him for coming on. We have a lot of things to get to, though. Let's get to them right now. Adam's Rib Co. To Go, Gator of the Week. And you know what it's going to be? It's going to be all the guys that are in the Super Bowl. And that includes the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, went to Florida. Brian Johnson, who spent time here under Dan Mullen, we give him credit. We call him a Gator, right? I mean, he was here, and he's going to probably be a head coach somewhere pretty soon. But obviously, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, or whatever his name he is now. What is it? CJ Sauce? I don't know what it. Anyway, whatever name he goes by, he's really playing well for Philadelphia. Tommy Townsend, of course, who was an All-Pro this year. I asked this question during the break. Brothers that were both All-Pros the same year, and the answer was the Kelseys, the Sharps, Shannon and Sterling, and the Barbers, who were twins. But maybe Johnny can get back in there. Both of them can be all pros. And then, of course, Kadarius Toney, who's a little banged up. We'll see how much a factor he is, but boy, he's played well. And Carlos Dunlap, also on that Chiefs team. So a lot of Gators, and somebody's going to win a ring, and that's all that matters. That's what we care about the most. So those guys are all our Adams Ribco to Go Gators of the week. I will have a lot of choices on Gators of the weekend. I know that between basketball and everything else. We'll get to our Leonardos and Millhopper quick picks. We are supposed to pull a winner today, and we're going to do that right now. It is Matthew Fail. I did this this morning when I had all the names on there, and I went ahead and picked one. Matthew Fail is a winner. I think Matthew may have won before. Maybe not, but he'll get his information to me, and I'll send him a $25 gift certificate from Leonardo's and a copy of my book, Game of My Life. But go ahead and get in. You can get in this week for the next contest, and the over-under is going to be Alicia Keys, 2 minutes, 36 seconds, the longest national anthem ever at a Super Bowl. You want to go over or under that? Actually, the over-under, is 158 for Chris Stapleton. But that was the longest one. I was going to ask that, and I did ask that in our Yes, No, Where, maybe. But Chris Stapleton's over-under is 158, which is right about the average that they have it. So you're going to go over or under. So it's not too hard. You type in over or you type in under. That's all you got to do. Send it to me, patrickdooley54@gmail.com. All right. It is time for us to look at the Games of the Weekend, sponsored by Ben Eig and, of course, Odell Realty. We appreciate them as being a great sponsor. A lot going on this weekend. We know the Super Bowl is at 6:30. Everybody knows that it's on Fox, if you didn't know. You watch for the commercials. It's going to be an interesting dynamic at our house because, we like I said, we don't have any real dog in the hunt. We're just going to watch and hope it's a great game. Probably root for the guys with the ball. Whoever has the ball, I'll root for them. One team gets behind, I'll root for them. But you watch for the commercials too, and we'll see if they're any good. We'll talk about those on Monday, but that is at 6:30, and it's actually fairly accurate time. I think they actually kick it off at like 6:37 or something like that, 6:38, but that's pretty accurate. I did want to mention that Florida Golf starts its season Saturday. I know Robbie's done this before, and I've done it. You go out there and just walk around the course and watch these great golfers. And Florida's one of the best teams in the country this year. They have 3 guys, I think, in the top 20, I think it is, in terms of the rankings for college golf. And that starts Saturday morning and then Saturday afternoon, and then I think Sunday morning. And but if you want to get out and get some exercise, that is a great thing to do. It's a great tournament, and this is really I think it's going to be a special team. Also, Florida softball starts tonight at 7 o'clock. They play Boston. That's getting going. Of course, next week we'll have baseball going. But here are the games basketball-wise, again, with the Ben Eig Games of the Weekend that I wanted to give you. I think the best 2 games nationally are both in the Big 12. Kansas at Oklahoma, 1 o'clock CBS. That's one you want to watch. Oklahoma destroyed Alabama, that same Alabama team that we just saw destroy Florida. That's amazing. And then Baylor at TCU. Those are 2 ranked teams. That's at 4 on ESPN2. Alabama-Auburn is the SEC game to me that really stands out. That is a 2 o'clock game on ESPN, so you can watch that leading in kind of to the Florida game. Florida plays at 3:30 against Vanderbilt on the SEC Network if you're looking to watch it. So those are the Ben Eig Games of the Weekend. A lot of them. And there's a lot more going on. And we have the Phoenix Golf, which is going on all weekend too. Watched a lot of it last night, actually. But I'm ready for it to get down to cases, where it's about something. Now, you can't even feel that till Sunday morning. Phoenix must be crazy right now. You got the golf term out there, which is almost a major. I mean, that's how big it is. And then you got the Super Bowl out there. And they're not that far away from each other in terms of the fans. So they must be having a blast. I hope nobody gets in trouble. All right, it is time for This, That, and the Other. It is brought to you, as always, by Ironwood Golf Course, by Ballyhoo Grill, and by Darth Shakow Insurance. We appreciate them so much. This was that we talked about this a lot, about how we didn't think Florida next year. I think they'll have a roster that is more in line with what Billy wants, but when you look at the schedule, you kind of grimace. You're not sure they're going to be good. And that's kind of been the mentality, I think, of a lot of Gator fans going, now it'll change as we get closer to the season. People will get more excited and everything. But they're like, I hope we can go to a bowl next year, because you don't know who the quarterback's going to be. And certainly there's a lot of issues. But we kept saying this. I'm telling you, we kept saying this on the radio anyway, that, hey, third year of Billy, he's got his guys, got the facility's been up for 3 years. Third year is usually when guys really tend to blossom. And so that's been the philosophy. And then the news came out about, and we talked about this earlier, about Oklahoma and Texas not being able to come to the SEC because a year early. And so then we look at the Florida schedule, and this news only came out, 5 days ago. No, can't work it out. It's not, they said it's not dead, but it's almost dead. So that happened. So then we look at the schedule and we go, well, look, Miami's going to be hard. I don't know how good Miami's going to be in the year 3 of Mario Cristobal. Nobody does. But then UCF, look, if you got the guys in place, you should be able to handle UCF. Obviously, FSU is going to be a tough game, you would think, by then. They'll be pretty good. But then you looked at the whole schedule and you just went, it's manageable, though. It's okay, especially in the third year. You're going to have to beat some good teams. And then, of course, the other is now we have no idea what anything's going to look like. So that is the third year of Billy Napier, which I know I'm getting way ahead of the game, but the third year of Billy Napier, I have no idea what it's going to look like, because I have no idea what the schedule is going to look like, and I have no idea who they're going to get as their permanent foes. A lot of people speculated it's going to be Florida, Georgia, obviously. And that's only if they go to 9, Georgia, South Carolina, and Oklahoma. And I'm like, well, I think they've seen enough of Oklahoma. So anyway, it's all really confusing, and a lot of answers are going to come up in the next couple of months. In fact, March, they meet in Destin, I think. So we may get some answers there. That is This, That, and the Other, and we appreciate our great sponsors there. It is time for Pat Dooley Storytime, brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics and Mike Jordan, who I'm going to see later today, who's got another great prize for our golf tournament, and we appreciate him being a sponsor as well, but he's also given me some unbelievable silent auction prizes. I just wanted to talk quickly about my Super Bowl parties, because this week I get a little melancholy for it. We don't do them anymore. We couldn't do it this year because they're tearing up our kitchen, but we don't do them. And the main reason we quit doing them is because everybody would leave at the end of the first quarter. And the reason is because it's now almost 8 o'clock. You've got to go to work the next day. You start thinking, I've had enough to eat. I've probably had enough to drink. If I go home now, I'll get my jammies, watch the rest of the game. If it gets to be boring, I can go to sleep right away. Kind of the reason people will go to games. But there would be times we'd have like 50 people at our house for a Super Bowl party. And these go way back to the old days when I was married to Judy back in the 70s. We used to have Super Bowl parties, and I do miss them. We had the greatest contests. One of them was you had to name the 4 songs that they would play, and Tom Petty, Kelsey won it, believe it or not. She got all 4 songs right, but the prize was a bottle of champagne. She was 9 at the time, so we had to drink it, unfortunately. So anyway, the Super Bowl parties were unbelievable. I used to sit out there and cook and grill, and it was just a blast. And I do miss those. I don't even know what we're going to do for this Super Bowl. I think we'll just watch it at home in our jammies. Yay. Boy, are we getting old. That's sad. That is the story time. The story time is that I'm too old to go to Super Bowl parties. I would go if somebody asked me. Are you having one? No? Okay. Tammy says no. How about no on that one? All right. That's going to do it. Appreciate Jared and Tammy for doing a great job producing this show. Appreciate our guests. Kind of an unusual show today, but hey, it's Super Bowl week, right? Let's go. We'll be back on Monday. I think Coach Spurrier will be in here on Monday if he's recovered from having a street named after him. Until then, I'm Pat Dooley saying I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.